Looking at me, you might be able to tell that I'm somewhat of a Star Trek fan. As that is the case, let me tell you, I am very excited to be able to make this video. Hello and welcome to Small Wonders, the series where I tell you about a game that is wondrous and passionate and deserves all the attention I can heap upon it. Today, I bring to you Star Trek Across the Unknown, otherwise known as an actually good Star Trek game. Is it possible? It is. Developed by Game Excite and published by Daedalic Entertainment, Star Trek Across the Unknown is a strategy, survival, space sim following the events of the titular Star Trek Voyager TV show. More importantly, it is probably the best Star Trek video game released in the last 2 decades. We have had a couple resurgence level games that were pretty good, but most of the Star Trek games we get are more like that terrible shooter from the PS3 era. Ugh.
Fuck. What the fuck's fuck?
The theme and presentation are absolutely phenomenal. Moving around your ship, you see the crew members in each room, and the sound designers understood they needed to get the gentle hum of the warp engines just right. You play by collecting resources, balancing these resources with the morale and tactical capabilities of the ship, and making decisions that will influence the crew and Voyager, creating situations that were impossible in the show if you choose to do so. I, for one, am usually disappointed by Star Trek games in that they fail to deliver the overall feeling of Star Trek and capture the diplomatic, exploratory nature of Starfleet. This game gets as close as any game I have ever played, while also giving you the freedom to make decisions antithetical to Starfleet's mission if that is as you desire. As you travel through the Delta Quadrant on a journey to return home, just as in the TV show, your decisions and skill checks in the game have real impacts on how your journey unfolds. Yes, I mentioned skill checks. There is definitely some luck involved in this game. You can do a lot to mitigate your risks, but eventually you're gonna get unlucky and take damage while collecting resources or fail a skill check that will cause a crew member to be lost permanently. That can be super frustrating, and I've definitely seen people complain about this a lot, so feel free to save scum, but also be willing to accept weird things happening, causing you to have to play the game a little bit differently. You can always make sure that skill check goes right on your next run. Speaking from experience, it can be kind of fun if you were to lose, I don't know, B'Elanna Torres and get stuck with her Klingon half instead of her original self, and then have a whole different crew member on board with different skills to have to work with. If you have watched the TV show, this game goes through so many of the major events that it feels like you're uncovering Easter eggs every few minutes. It's fun to know what happened on the show and be able to decide if you want to follow in Janeway's footsteps or make a different choice and see how that would play out. If you're a fan of management games or Star Trek, this is a pretty easy recommendation for me to make, but if you're not sure, then enough preamble. What is the game actually like? Well, let's set a course at Warp 9 and engage.
Fun will now commence.
All right, hello. This is Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown, specifically the Switch 2 version, but they're pretty similar across versions, except that I'm sure the settings menu for the Switch version is nowhere near as strong, but that's okay. You can see what we have. We have lots of color blindness versions. We got normal, deuteranope, protanope, tritanope, so very good accessibility, very well done to the developers. I'm a big fan of this game, which is incredible for me to say because I don't get to say that very often. This game is a good Star Trek game, and I love that I can say that. Let's go in. Let's show you the game. We're just gonna start a new game here because I don't want to spoil some of the differences that can happen later on. We have 3 difficulty modes we can choose. Adventure, focus on the journey, recommended for players who want to enjoy the story and exploration. You probably have seen a difficulty mode like this. This game is actually relatively difficult. So if you like to choose the hardest difficulty mode, go ahead and do it if you are equipped for strategy games like this. But if you're just a Star Trek fan who has not played a whole bunch of strategy games like this, go with adventure or survival. Because this game truly like, I've done pretty okay, but I play a lot of strategy games. I've seen people online complaining about the difficulty of this game. If you're going to be one of those people, go with adventure, probably. So we're going to go survival. I want to show you some of the difficulty that is expected. So, you are the captain of the Federation starship USS Voyager. Manage your ship and crew. Plot a course through procedurally generated star systems. Your unique ship build and stuff will cause stuff.
A few days back, this Captain Janeway breezes into my cozy penal colony like she owns the place. She's stern and smells like coffee and regulations. And the kicker? She's served with my old man on the Albatani. Turns out her security chief, Tuvok, was playing spy on a Maquis ship that vanished in the Badlands. Now Janeway needs that missing ship found, and because of my past associations, I'm apparently the resident expert on the Badlands. I find the missing Maquis, she puts in a good word for me at my next parole review. Simple. Still, the view is infinitely better than a holding cell. It's not every day you get a front row seat on a brand new Intrepid-class starship's maiden voyage. The USS Voyager. Might even get to touch the helm.
Did you recognize that voice? If you watched the show, you might. That was the actual actor for Tom Paris. Gentlemen, welcome to Voyager. Ensign Kim, you're fresh from the academy, ready for your first deep space assignment. Reporting for duty, Captain. It's an honor to be here. I hope I live up to your expectations. Ensign Kim, I trust you've already met Tom Paris, our esteemed observer, a former Maquis pilot who will help us search the Badlands for the Maquis vessel. With all due respect, ma'am, observer is hardly a title befitting my talents. I'm the best damn pilot in this sector. Call me pilot extraordinaire, Ensign. The Maquis, wow, I've heard a lot of stories about them. Relax. I was with the Maquis only for a few weeks before I was captured and sent to a lovely little penal colony in New Zealand. A penal colony? Enough chatter, gentlemen. All hands, this is the captain. Report to your stations. Helm, take us into the Badlands. Maximum warp. So as you can see, this is the start of Star Trek Voyager, the television show, and we're going to follow the events of that show, but things are going to be a little bit different. The very start of this game is going to follow events pretty closely, but as we'll see how things change. And here are the Badlands. Beautiful USS Voyager, rendered in all her beauty. The Badlands, a treacherous region of space where violent plasma storms can cripple even the most advanced starships. Captain Janeway observes the swirling chaos from the view screen, a subtle smile playing on her lips. She's ready for the challenge. Scanners are picking up no other vessels in the system, Captain. It's your time to shine, Mr. Paris. Any idea where your former colleagues might be hiding? I wasn't exactly Maquis of the Year, Captain, but they did prefer underground bases, remote planets, and... Captain, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm reading a coherent Tetryon beam scanning us, and a displacement wave heading towards us. A colossal wave of turbulent energy surges towards Voyager, its power dwarfing anything the crew has ever seen. With no time to analyze the threat, emergency measures are initiated. Red alert. Helm, evasive maneuvers. Too late. The wave will intercept us in 5 seconds. Brace for impact. As the crew regains consciousness, they find their bridge in total devastation. Twisted metal, sparking consoles, and injured crewmates paint a grim picture. What just happened? Damage report. Major hull and deck damage. The transporters are offline and we're receiving casualty reports. Bridge to sickbay. Doctor, I've got injured crew on the bridge. Doctor? Damn. Captain, we're losing systems across multiple decks. The deuterium tanks are empty. Warp core is going to gray mode. We're on reserves, barely. Mr. Paris, take the helm. Scan for the nearest source of deuterium. External sensors are offline. Stellar cartography must be down. Voyager's blind, Captain. Janeway to engineering. We need stellar cartography back online. Now. So we're going to skip this tutorial because I can just tell you what's going on here. This is the USS Voyager, the side profile of it anyway, including all of the very many damaged and ruined rooms that exist. This is the first part of what makes this game a cool management game. You get to build Voyager the way you want. All of these ruined rooms can be moved and changed into any other kind of room that you want, whether it's crew quarters or tactical systems, holodecks, hydroponic bays, so on and so forth. If you heard about a room in Voyager, it's probably in this game, and even if you didn't, there's a good chance it's in this game. You might have seen from trailers, for instance, that you can use a lot of Borg technology on Voyager, a lot more than they used in the show anyway, which can cause your ship to change the way it looks and functions pretty dramatically. Anyway, we need to get stellar cartography online, so if we click on it, we can see we can switch it on. Easy peasy. There we are. Luckily, it wasn't damaged too badly, it just didn't have power. Captain, sensors are picking up something out there, but what Harry is trying to stammer is we're not in the Badlands anymore. And as we zoom out, we see this mysterious station. If you watch the show, you'll know this is the Caretaker's Array. What is that thing? Where are we? If our sensors are working, we just jumped over 70,000 light years into the Delta Quadrant. The Delta Quadrant? How? Captain, life support systems are failing. This array will have to wait. Mr. Paris, take the helm. Find us a deuterium source. So this is a little bit less like the show. We weren't immediately like, oh, we need fuel. But we do in the game. So as you'll see at the very top of the screen, we have all of our different kinds of resources. I can go up here and kind of show them off. We have Borg nanites, bioneural gel packs, science points used to do research, dilithium, deuterium, which is our fuel, as well as simple energy, power reserves, batteries, which is, auxiliary power reserves, duranium, which is our basic building resource, tritanium, our advanced building resource, and food for the crew, as well as crew and work teams specifically. So the whole point of the game is we're going to be managing all of these many resources, and at the same time dealing with the sector threat level. And on the very far left, it doesn't let me hover over it for some reason, but those are the number of torpedoes we have. So right now, we're pretty bare basics. We don't have any food, we don't have tritanium, we don't have duranium, we don't have any batteries, we don't have deuterium to power the warp core. We have a little bit of dilithium, which is used mostly for upgrades, as well as some science points and bioneural gel packs. So now we're into this other management screen. So this is where it feels kind of like a roguelike. It's not exactly a roguelike, but it can feel like it. So what we're going to do is we're going to scan this shipwreck, for instance. Let's grab the deuterium then. Blah, blah, blah. So this little symbol on the top, it matches, or this symbol here, I guess, in the middle of the screen, matches the symbol for the deuterium at the top of your screen. So that's how you know it's here. If we click on it, it gives us a little bit more details. Well, not really. It says it has deuterium, and how much is question marks. We don't know because we need to upgrade stellar cartography to get more data. But we can go around. There you go. That one has some duranium. This class G planet has deuterium. This class E planet has duranium, deuterium, duranium. This debris field has some deuterium. I think it's just going to be deuterium and duranium for this first beginning system because they don't want to overwhelm you too much, which is nice. All right, let's go. This is 2 cycles away, which basically just means 2 days away. There are certain resources that will go down every cycle, which you'll have to balance. Now, we found an abandoned vessel. Captain, we found an abandoned vessel adrift in space. It's powered down, but structurally sound with sealed storage compartments. Now, this is where some of the luck comes into the game that makes people not especially happy sometimes. We can leave the storage alone and focus on salvaging from other parts of the ship. So, there are 5 different outcomes possible in any of these encounters. There's like dark green, which isn't here, but that's the best possible. Light green, which is most of the likelihood here, where we'll get the 464 deuterium. Yellow, which is kind of a middling outcome. It's okay. nothing too bad will happen, but you might get little to nothing in return. Orange, which is not great. You might still get something, but it will definitely cost you something. Like people could die, or your ship could be damaged, or so on and so forth. And then red, which is something very bad happens. Your ship takes a lot of damage, or people definitely die, or you don't get anything from the encounter and something else bad happens. But for now, let's go with this one. All right, we got unlucky. We got the little bit of the bar that was the yellow, but that's okay. We still got some deuterium. Captain, we can now deactivate gray mode. Captain, ready to increase warp core output. So that's what we're going to do. On main engineering, we can click here, and we have a whole list of choices for how much power we want to output. The more power that we output, the more deuterium it costs. However, we need to upgrade main engineering to do any of these other tiers. For now, we can only do tier 1, which gives us 120 power for 24 deuterium. Our energy levels are returning to normal, Captain. Good. Now, what about this thing, this array? I can't tell, Captain, but our scanners detected a Maquis vessel next to it. Now we have a choice. We can try hailing them, or we can simply scan for life signs. Let's scan for life signs first. Scan the ship for life signs, Ensign. There's no one on board, Captain. Let's scan the array. What about the array? Several life forms on board, Captain. Is one of them Vulcan? I'm not sure, Captain. The signals are weak. We'll just have to see for ourselves. I want the transporter room repaired and ready. Mr. Paris, get us to the duranium deposit. We'll need it to repair the transporter room. Alright. Well, there's a duranium deposit right here. Now on the top of your screen, you can actually see the deuterium. I have a 298, and it takes 24 per cycle, is what that means, the negative 24. So now the cycles actually matter. As we go to this Class D planet, we're going to lose 48 deuterium. We detected a small debris field scattered across a wide area. The debris appears to be the remnants of a vessel. Maybe we can find something useful in here. So here's where we can try to get a little bit risky. We can collect any easily accessible resources. Only one outcome. We get 42 duranium. Or you can try and risk it. It's about a 50-50 chance, maybe 55-45, where we use the tractor beam. We can get 66 duranium, or it'll go yellow, and we probably won't get much at all. Let's risk it. Risk it for the biscuit. And we shouldn't have. We only got 29, but that's okay. Still something. We now have all the duranium we need. Engineering is standing by to repair the transporter, Captain. All right. We just click the repair button here. As it says, it will take 1 work team. It will take 0 cycles and 14 duranium. There we go. Instantly repaired. Usually, things take longer than 0 cycles to repair. This doesn't logically make a lot of sense, but for the tutorial, they want you to know when to stop. Now we just click on it one more time. Transporters are back online, Captain. Mr. Paris, set course for the array. It's time we got some answers. All right, let's do it. I want to show you guys an away team mission. There are lots of little cutscenes like this too that just show off the beauty of Voyager and some of the other ships and planets and whatnot in the show. So nice. Ensign Kim and Mr. Paris, get ready for your first away mission. Okay. So now we get to select our 2 officers based on the challenges and recommended traits on the left. Now, we only have 2 choices, so it's pretty simple. But Tom Paris's 3 skills are this Starfleet protocol skill. I don't really know what you're supposed to call it. And then engineering and medical skills. And Harry Kim has engineering and science, which fills out all of the challenges on the left that we're going to need to fulfill. And they have the recommended traits of pilot and quick-witted, so we can start the mission. And you'll see kind of how they come into play. Captain, we seem to have materialized in the middle of a cornfield. This place, it's eerily similar to Earth, but something's off. Any suggestions as to what to do next? So we can either look for any footprints or strange noises. That's a Starfleet thing to do. Or we can scan for any life signs or strange energy signatures, which is a science option. So you can try to play this to be really smart. In future away missions, I would really recommend it. On this one, it's pretty easy, but you can look at what the challenges are going to be coming up next. So which crew member you're going to need for the next one, because anytime you use a crew member, they become fatigued and they're less useful in the next one. So on the next one, I can use Paris or Harry Kim's science, but Paris has 2 options in the Starfleet and the medical. So instead of Paris, I'm going to use Harry here. And we succeeded. It tried. It almost made us fail in that little red mark, but we succeeded, thankfully. Harry and Tom use their tricorders to scan for life signs and detect a strange energy spike emanating from a nearby area. Following the readings, they navigate through the corn and find a farm with people working the fields. An old man sits on the porch of a nearby farmhouse, strumming a banjo. Captain, this old man seems harmless enough. He might know what's going on here. How should we approach him? Alright, so there are different rewards as well for different options. Usually if you do something more risky, like this one is a lot more risky, but we'll get 15 science points, versus something like this where we only get 5, but it's way more likely that we'll succeed. I'm gonna go with this one. I don't want to fatigue Harry even more, because the more times you use them in a row, the more fatigued they get, and they won't become unfatigued until you don't use them. We'll try to read his body language. Harry and Tom discreetly observe the old man, trying to analyze his body language. Something feels off, like he is putting on an act, but they can't quite put a finger on why. The old man seems perplexed by their presence, muttering about Harry and Tom being early and how it is not their turn yet. He invites them to stay on the farm and wait, offering them some fresh corn cobs. The old man isn't much help. We'll try to find the Maquis ourselves. There's a large barn behind the farmhouse. The tricorder readings are off the charts. There's definitely something strange about it, especially that back wall. So we can just investigate for the hidden wall, try to analyze what the readings are, or try to find a way to break the illusion of the wall. If we work together, because Tom and Harry both have the engineering proficiency, we can work together on this one. But it will make them very fatigued for this last check. We do kind of need deuterium, but there's a lot in the system. So I'm going to go for this middle one. Get us 10 science points instead. Come on, Harry. Oh, I was a little scared there. Harry and Tom analyze the energy readings, confirming advanced holographic technology masking the wall. Before they can pinpoint the source, the people from the field burst in, wielding farm tools as weapons. The old man appears and reveals the barn is an illusion, the back wall dissolving to show a bluish, glowing room where unconscious people, including a tattooed man and a half-Klingon warrior, lie on surgical tables. I wonder who those people could be. These people must be the missing Maquis. They are being held here, Captain. We must get them out of here. So, we can choose first to wake up the tattooed man or the half-Klingon woman, which does have an effect. That's why they're highlighted yellow. It has a big effect on the story which one that you wake up first, which isn't exactly how it went in the show. Well, they did choose one of them specifically. So I want to show you how things could have been a little bit different. So you know what? We're going to wake up B'Elanna. Because if you know the show, that's not exactly how it went. Oh, we got a great success. In the yellow bar, it means you get double rewards when you succeed. Harry sprints towards the half-Klingon woman, hoping to rouse her. As he reaches out, the old man stops him, a look of concern on his face. Before Harry can react, a blinding white light fills the room, and everything goes blank. There we go. And we get a bunch of experience points. Tom and Harry level up because I love RPG systems. Thank you for having them, game. A sudden return. Captain Janeway anxiously awaits the return of her away team when Harry Kim unexpectedly materializes behind her. What happened on the array? So this is very much like what happened in the show, except it was Tom Paris that materialized instead of Harry Kim. Whoa, I'm back on Voyager? What happened over there, Mr. Kim? We lost contact with you for several hours. Hours? But we were just there, right, Tom? Tom? Seems like he's still on the array. I hope... Captain, we're being hailed by the Maquis. Starfleet. I don't know what you did to our commander, but I can still ram this wreck into your precious starship. Ram us? One of our own is also missing. It would make sense to postpone the ramming until we're all accounted for. Does that sound reasonable? We're beaming over. Despite Janeway's invitation, the arrival of the Maquis crew is fraught with tension. Both sides remain wary as they prepare to discuss their shared predicament. So there is a lot of custom artwork based on the show and the events. And this artwork changes because we have B'Elanna here. If I had chosen the other option, we would have had Chakotay. So there's a lot of custom artwork, and I think it looks beautiful. This kind of... I'm not a very artsy person, so I couldn't even tell you, but it's very brushstrokey, you know? I like it. Don't play games, Starfleet. We're armed and ready to defend ourselves. It is a little awkward that we're not, like, standing up and looking at each other. We're just taking the different positions on the bridge, but that's fine. I wouldn't have it any other way. Glad to have you back, Tuvok. Likewise, Captain. Miss Torres, I must inform you that I was assigned to infiltrate the Maquis. I never liked you, Vulcan. That is unsurprising. I assure you, I performed my Maquis duties to the highest standards. Fatak. You win some, you lose some. Let's focus on bringing Mr. Paris and your commander back. His name is Chakotay, and we can't get back in that easy. They're sealed and their communications are cut off. Lieutenant Tuvok, get down to engineering and find a way to bypass whatever's jamming our communications. Report back as soon as you have a solution. Captain, the ship's status remains critical. Repair protocols are imperative. We require resources and an engineering office to mobilize additional workforces, prioritize life support, secure core decks, and restore Deck 5 functionality first to gain access to the engineering office. Alright, and this is where we finally really start to rebuild our ship. So we can do things. I can click wide or just repair this really quickly. Repairs in progress. I took completion be logical to scan all systems. I want to show you a little bit more about the game. We've already scanned all the systems, so now it wants me to go around and collect all of the many different resources, and then we can start upgrading our ship and all that. But I really quickly, this video is starting to get a little bit long. Instead, I do want to talk about this. There is a save button here that did not used to exist. So you could not really save scum this game. It would every 5 systems automatically save, or every 5 like events. So if you went to 5 different planets, nothing much happened. It was a pretty reasonable succession of saves. But say you went to one planet and there was a big cutscene and stuff happened. You did a fight. You went to another planet, another cutscene. Went to another planet. Then it saved. If something happened on that 5th planet or that 5th event that you didn't like and that you wanted to save scum, it was extremely frustrating because there is a lot of luck to this game. So maybe a crew member that you just refused to let die has died. There was nothing that you could do except to replay the last, 15 minutes of the game. If you're rushing through and skipping every cutscene and all that, it could take a while. And I had one instance where I was failing a 60% chance, I think 6 times in a row, and had to replay that part so many times, and I was frustrated, but I also know that's how luck is. A 60% chance is a 0% chance until it succeeds. So that's fine. Anyway, I just wanted to point this out because it does show that the developers are listening to people, because I wasn't complaining about it outwardly, but a lot of people were, and the developers got this fixed quite quickly. As a matter of fact, the game has not been out for very long, and you can go in and look at the Steam page for this game, and they're always talking about the different patches and things that they're doing. They're working on this game pretty quickly. I do appreciate just how quickly they've been doing things. So, that is Sector 1. There are more sectors to this game. I am on Sector 9. I want to quickly show you kind of where I am at in this other playthrough a lot farther. I want to show you what kinds of things are possible in these next few minutes, and how you can build out your Voyager. So, I am in this nebula, which is part of this big sector. My current story mission is called Dark Frontier. This is my Voyager. You can see it's almost entirely filled out at this point. I've kind of got this area of the gray. The rooms have been repaired, so they're not ruined anymore. These ones I still need to repair and get this life support online. And then over here, I've got a little bit of room not taken. But you know what? To clear this comms transmission that's coming in, we can watch this really quickly. Yeah, let's do that. Oh wait, you know what? Actually, I don't want to do that. I just want to show you what's going on here. I've got, cargo bays, phaser control rooms, shield generators, a bunch of them, because you can really min-max super hard. I've got the mess hall with Neolix. I have Klingon B'Elanna here, because human B'Elanna died, which is very unfortunate. Basically, all of your characters have some chance somewhere to die. I have Kess still, this is long after the part of the show where, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but if you know, you know. I have Carrie from engineering, even though he's not that important a character. He's here. So yeah, my Voyager is pretty science focused, I would say. I can go to the tech tree here and show you all of these different things that I have unlocked, and that also shuts up the comm, so that's nice. Yeah, I've got, you know, tier 5 in engineering, tier 5 in crew, tier 3 in science, tier 2 in combat, so I'm really not very combat focused. I don't even have all of the tier 2 combat upgrades unlocked. It's just enough to be able to defend myself when I need to keep up with the random encounters that show up. But when I'm making decisions in the game, I'm not making decisions that will cause me to have to fight people, generally. And then there's also the Borg one. Now, I haven't had this one unlocked for too long, but I'm definitely not focusing on it too hard. A lot of the Borg technologies lower morale. This one, the neuroelectric field generator, lowers morale by 3 per cycle. The regeneration alcove lowers morale by 1 per cycle. But these are some really strong technologies that just give you crew members all the time. This one repairs the ship really fast. This one increases capacity. This one is like a super sick bay. It has a high patient capacity of 20 and heals all sick and injured crew and ex-Borg. Yeah, it's just, these are really nice. There's cutting beam control room. Obviously Voyager wasn't getting that in the television show, but you can in this game. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Let's go back to the main menu. Please, if you are a fan of management games, or if you are a fan of Star Trek Voyager, or even not, if you haven't watched the show, this is a pretty cool way to experience the events of the show, and then maybe later you can go back and watch the show and be like, oh, did Janeway make the same decisions as me? Or did I go completely off the rails and make the most un-Starfleet starship that there ever was? Who knows? There are characters in this game that you can recruit that are definitely not available in the normal games. For instance, some of the TV show plot elements that are represented include the Kazon and Seska arc, the Year of Hell, Tuvix, that time B'Elanna was split into her 2 Klingon and human halves, that time the Doctor was beamed over to the ultra-powerful USS Prometheus, and many more. There's a DLC here, which is a Day 1 DLC that I'm not a big fan of, but if you remember Inspector Kashyyyk, you can recruit him. You can recruit Dinara Pell, which I actually have. He's one of the Malon during that series of the show. You get new technologies, and there are many technologies, many people to recruit. Let's actually jump back into here. I want to show you the screen of just how many people that you can recruit, because it's insane and impressive, and I love it. Here we go. We can go look at the heroes here. So we have Catherine, Harry, Tuvok, Tom Paris, and B'Elanna, and then a whole bunch of undiscovered characters. Some of these are going to be on Voyager. We just need to do a bit of story to unlock them. A lot of these are going to be missed in your playthrough, which adds some replayability for you to be able to go through later. You can probably guess some of these characters. You're not going to guess all of them. There are a lot. Unless you're like a super Star Trek Voyager fan and you remember every episode, then maybe. But for now, not really. Anyway, that's the video. I wanted to show you this game because I'm just so happy Star Trek has a game that is good. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a dandy day.